Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeTolife.com and welcome to this video which is called Manifesting Guide 2022. So in this video, as the name says it, I want to give you a straightforward, very detailed, step-by-step way on how to manifest literally any of your goals, any of your desires. And I was inspired to do this video because a lot of people that I speak with that are, coming to these teachings, that are, interested in working with me, they tell me, Nicholas, I watched all the theory, I know all the, things when it comes to the concepts and all of that, but I struggle to implement it. I struggle to really apply, to really do it. So that is why with this video, that's why I called it From Confusion to Successful Manifestation, because successful manifestation for me is the result of really understanding the core principles, but then being able to live by them, to really apply them, right? Like Neville said, to be a doer of the word and not just simply a hero where you learn all of this stuff for years, but you still don't see any movement in your circumstances. That's obviously not supposed to be the case. But if you consciously do the shifts correctly that we're going to talk about in this video, then you will see changes. You will manifest your goals. So stay with me, right? I will show you right now, first of all, the agenda, and then we're jumping right into the manifestation guide. So again, this is a very detailed video. I tried to bring everything that's relevant for you within this video. So watch it till the end. I think that's the only guide that you need to manifest your goals. So with that, let's just jump right in. First of all, this is what we are going to cover in this video, right? We're going to talk about the fundamental principles, right? I quickly summarize them for you so that you know, okay, this is what I first of all have to understand and kind of learn and really grasp so that the application becomes even easier, right? Because what I often also hear people tell me is they manifested things, but they don't know how. They did it like accidentally that they manifested stuff. So for me, it's really great from my perspective if you also understand the framework, first of all, behind manifestation, and then you consciously start to use it. Then you consciously start to apply it for your goals. So we're going to talk about the fundamental principles, and then I want to give you a step-by-step explanation. And I do have another video on my channel that's maybe even more than a year ago when I uploaded that, where I also did this, but now it's with better explanations. Now it's just up to date. Now it's just with me guiding you through this even more detailed. So this will be the step-by-step way on how the manifestation process works, what you need to focus on, what you need to do. And then I want to show you a practical example. So we're going to talk about relationships and money. So what do you do if, for example, you have goals in those two areas? I want to show you what I would do, what Neville did, and how it works. And then also, we will conclude this video with some action steps for you, right? How can you, after watching this detailed video, go out there and start doing it, right? Start applying it and not just have this another video where you only learn, but then don't actually do something towards your goals, all right? So that's the agenda, and with that, let's just start with the fundamental principles, okay? I laid them out here. These are some, from my experience and from my understanding, fundamental, necessary things that you really need to understand. And we're going to start off with the one called Creation is Finished. Every possible state exists right now within you, all right? So that's it sounds first of all like a nice concept. The more you go into the teachings, the more you go into the application, the more you prove it to yourself and see your own results, the more you will see how true that is and that this is the truth, right? So what does that mean? Right, Neville talked about this a lot, and he said, every possible thing that you can imagine, every possible thing that you can be aware of, right, that you can even think of, that you can even conceive, right, does exist as a potential, right, as a potential existing state of consciousness, state of being. But right now it is not, you don't experience the contents of this state because you're not identified with this particular state. You are identified with your current state, right? But that state still exists. So if you can imagine your desire, meaning if you can already be aware of that desire, that is available. That does exist as a non-manifested, non-tangible reality, right? Version of possibilities in the unseen reality, right? Within this infinite awareness, within this infinite consciousness. So it is there. It's like an existing room in a big house. You can only see the contents of the room that you're in. And if you change the room, if you shift into a new state, you see the contents of that state, of this room, right? But the room already existed, the state already existed. So you simply shift states, right? But that is a fundamental, very necessary to understand, in my opinion, concept and like principle that, again, all of these states exist, because then you really see and understand what manifesting means, right? That manifesting is not creating something, which many people believe that they create something. No, it's more so you align with an already existing version of you. You align with an already existing state, right? You shift your focus, you shift your attention to that state, to that identity, to that self-concept, where then you get, therefore, new experience, new manifestations reflected back to you, right? So that's essential. Creation is finished. Everything you can imagine, everything you want does exist and is available, okay? I can't go into too much detail on that because that would, just explode the length of this video. But I do have a video called Creation is Finished. Every possible state already does exist. You can check this out above right now if you want to learn more about creation is finished. But that's one fundamental principle, right? The second fundamental principle is that consciousness is the only reality. You are where you dwell within. This is very important. I see a lot of people still stumble upon this and they don't really, internalize that. They still see the external facts as the reality, as the truth, as the only thing there is, and they still, experience a wall and they think, okay, my circumstances trigger me, my circumstances show me what I not want, so that's just how it is. But we have to look at how this life works. We have to look at the workings of consciousness, of manifestation. And if we come to the realization that the world is a mirror, right? I could have also mentioned that here too, that the world, your circumstances, the events you encounter, the people you encounter, how people treat you, what you manifest, how your life basically expresses itself, that is a mirror, that is a result, that is a reverberant effect of where you stand within, of where you dwell within. And if you get this, then you can change your paradigm and be like, wait a second, why am I taking my cue from my circumstances? If my bank account is not like I want it to be, if my relationships are right now not as I want them to be, if I'm still not in my desired relationship, if I still struggle with my health situation, why am I taking my cue from the current circumstances if they take their cue from me, right? I have a very important video. It's called The Life Cycle That Will Change Your Life. Check out the video above. I will link this above right now, explaining that principle more. But again, the realization that we will come to when we get this is that consciousness, meaning whatever you are aware of in the present moment, that is where you are. Meaning the external circumstances, what my senses tell me, can be lack, can be not my desired results, can still be the old stuff. But if internally I already, feel fulfilled, I feel in the end state, I feel like abundant or wealthy or healthy or happily partnered in that desired relationship that I want to be in, then I am there, right? Because my reactions to life are responsible to where I stand within, not to the circumstances. Meaning the circumstances can still show me lack, but because my reactions come from within, I can be at the end state and check in on myself if I am in the end state just by looking at my reactions to life. And if they have changed, if they're aligned with my desired end state, then I am internally living there, right? So that is very important, right? Consciousness, wherever you dwell within, in whichever state you are internally, that is where you actually are, right? Not where your senses show you that you are. So that's why you have to stop taking your cue from what is currently showing up, because that is only a result from where you stand within. So don't go into this vicious loop of looking at what is, taking a cue from that, forming a state out of what is, and then getting more of that. Because again, your world shows you what you have a life within you. So don't, take your cue from what you want to have a life within you by looking at what currently is happening externally with your health, with your finances, with your relationships, right? You are the causing power, right? Where you stand within, that is where then life will mold around and show you that back. So again, consciousness is the only reality, fundamental principle. The world is a mirror, right? You are where you dwell within. That is your reality, where you stand within. Meaning I can stand internally in financial abundance, but still right now see the lacking of finances in my circumstances. But I already start to internally feel abundant. And therefore my reactions will change. I will not, identify any longer with what my facts of my life show me. Right? Same with health. I can currently have symptoms and feel like not at the vitals level, at the most healthiest level. But if I let internally people see me as healthy, see the world from how I would see it if I would be healthy and be in that healthy state, over time, my circumstances would change too, right? So it only matters where you stand within, and you are where you dwell within, not where your senses tell you that you are, right? Your senses, that is like that's the echo, that's old stuff, literally, right? That's why it is true that the circumstances don't really matter, but it only makes sense to say that if you get that circumstances take their cue from you, that they show you who you are within yourself. So why not changing who you are within yourself to get new circumstances first? Okay? That's the second fundamental, right? Then the third fundamental principle that you have to understand is that imagination creates reality. This can be misunderstood, right? Because it's saying, imagining creates reality, then we think, okay, we create something, right? We influence reality. But I would like to translate that more into placing your awareness on the desired state, which again already does exist, what is what we covered first, right? Leads to the manifestation of that portion of creation, right? So when you understand that creation is finished, you only become aware, of other portions of that already existing creation. Everything's already there. Imagine every potential is already being laid out. You're right now identified with who you are right now, what you have, what you accept and assume to be true. That is why you experience this portion of creation. And it doesn't matter what happened for you to experience these circumstances right now. You were unconscious, you manifested that. We don't have to judge that and condemn ourselves for the state that we are right now in. We should only ask ourselves the question, who do we want to be? What do we want to have? What is my desire right now at this moment? So that we can start placing our awareness away from the unwanted and place it on the wanted, right? So imagining, to translate that, imagining is simply what we coined, placing our awareness, right, our attention, our focus on something that is not yet manifested. All right? I really want you to get this. So if you say imagining and you come up with scenes, with congratulations, with imaginal acts, with realizations, that is simply you tuning into other portions of creation, to something that is already there, that does already exist, right? So therefore, what imagining is placing your awareness on an alternative state of consciousness, an alternative reality. And what is meant by, again, imagining creates reality is simply that what you imagine, that is what you shift into. That is what you make alive for you. That is what you get manifested in your world. Okay? So as soon as you start to place your awareness away from what is, and you place it on who you want to be, on what you want to have, and you start to identify with that, and you start to be that within, then your world will start to mirror that back to you. All right? And again, it will lead to the manifestation of that portion of creation. Because, and I can jump to the last point here, your state, right, your self-concept, whatever you are aware of, whatever you are identified with, whatever you believe to be true and accept to be true about yourself, your state, right, that externalizes in your circumstances. That is what you get reflected back. Your life reflects your internal state, okay? And also another very important fundamental principle is assumptions harden into fact, right? You assume a state and that it externalizes, it manifests, like I said before. And what that means is that, you can assume something even though there is no proof of that, even though there is no physical evidence of that being true. But what you do when you assume it is that you start to really identify with that. You start to make that alive. You start to assume, what would it be like if I would have this? What would it be like if I would already be this desired version of myself? And you start to see the world from that perspective. And you start to really, be that. Right? You don't think of it, you start to really identify with that version of you, having the goals, already having the desires, and then the mirror, the world, can show this to you and reflect this to you as a result. Right? So assumptions harden into fact. It doesn't matter if there's proof of this right now. You can be, you can have health symptoms, you can be lonely, you can be isolated, you can be without friends, you can have a, boring lifestyle, you can be poor and not have the desired money. If you assume the opposite, in a sense, long enough, and you persist in that assumption, and you gently bring yourself back to the wish fulfilled, you place your awareness on that and again, you make it natural over time. That assumption, like Neville said, though it is at the moment false, though at the moment there is no evidence, over time will harden into fact, will manifest in your life, right? I also did a video on this subject called Assumptions Will Harden into Fact. I can also link this above right now, just if you want to go into that principle again, right? So these are, to conclude this right now, the fundamental principles that you have to understand first, kind of step by step, right? And again, if you understand them more and more, if you see the framework behind manifesting, how we move, how we shift consciousness, how we shift into a new state, and then this whole entire process that I'm going to share with you right now, the step-by-step manifestation process, will just be easier for you and more natural because you kind of know what is going on behind the scenes and you're not doing this blindly and unconsciously, all right? So that's it for the fundamental principles. Let us go right now into the step step-by-step explanation, right? So for some of you, this will seem maybe familiar because, like I said, I already did a video on this maybe over a year ago on my channel, but now it's again more detailed, more updated with more examples. So let us look at this, right? Don't be confused if it currently looks too overwhelming. It is very easy once this becomes, experiential for you. Once you get this and once you start to apply this, which is what I want you to do after this video. So obviously it all starts with a desire, with a goal. That's why you're here. That's why you watch this video. That is essentially the purpose of life, is to move to new stages of consciousness, is to evaluate, it's to grow, right? It's to expand. It's to shift to new levels of consciousness. And we always have new goals. We always, in a sense, desire more. And if we have this, then we want this. This is kind of like the flow of life. But of course, this should come from an abundant standpoint where you see that you don't need something because all of that is within you, right? You first of all did the fundamental inner work to realize that it is all within you, that creation is finished, that you are abundant, that you are whole, right? That you can tap into all of these states and that they are available within you, that you don't have to wait for something externally, right? Because life waits for you to set the tone, to decide what you want to have, to decide who you want to be. So it all starts again with desire, with goal. You can have many desires, you can have one desire right now, that doesn't matter. But what a desire is, so that you have clarity on that again, it is a state that you desire to manifest, right? A desire is also a state where you have what you want to have, where you are who you want to be. And now we realized that this state does already exist. So like Neville said, your desire is not something you try to become. Your desire is something that you realize you already have. This is what, from his explanation, praying means. It's not trying to get something. It's recognizing that you already are, that you already have it, because it already does exist. So you start to identify with it. Okay? So that's the first stages. First of all, just to be aware that, okay, when I have a desire, that instantly means that this does exist, that this is available, that I can manifest that I can be that, because it does exist within awareness. Or it does exist within this infinite portion of creation. It is already there. It is already ready, right? I am already who I want to be. You're just currently not aware of it. You're just currently not identified with it. That is why you don't experience this snippet of creation, this portion of creation, right? You're right now identified with the old stuff, the unwanted stuff, the current circumstances, and you just get more of that. But now we want to do is obviously shift internally to get new results, okay? So now we know that we have the desire, we know what we want, you're clear about that, and this is a state, this does already exist, right? Very basic. So then, how do we manifest it? Now we come to the like juicy part, right? How do we make this a circumstance? How do we make this a lived experience in our life, a new manifestation, right? So the goal here is that we have an imaginative experience of something that implies we have it. I will explain this to you right now, right? What we do when we imagine the end, like Neville said, right? Go to the end, imagine something that implies you have it. What we do is that we become aware, we become conscious of already having achieved the desire, right? We start to identify with the wish fulfilled. We really start to identify with what would it be like if I would have this. And it starts to feel natural, but more about this later, right? So we imagine something that implies that we have already realized our goal, right? We don't imagine the goal itself, because that creates euphoric feelings, that only produces a lot of overwhelming emotions, and it doesn't feel natural, right? We want to imagine something that implies that this is normal for us, that this is just who we are, that we just have this in our life, right? Later in the video, when I talk about the examples and the action steps for you, I will show you how to pick such an act, right? But this is just step 2, right? We know what we want, and then we say, okay, what would imply that I have this? What you do by that is simply, now that we know that everything does exist, and this version of you that has the goal, that is your ideal version of yourself, that is already there, that does exist. You simply pick an act, you simply pick an experience that this version of you would have, right? Very basic too. So we want to imagine something implying that we have already realized our goal, right? What would friends say? What would friends say to you if you have now realized your goal, if you are now your ideal version of yourself? What would they say to you if you meet them for dinner? What would your family say to you? Your kids, your spouse, your partner, your person, whoever it is, right? How would you wake up in the morning? How would you go to bed if you would already have your goal? How would you drink your morning tea, your morning coffee? How would you drive to work? How would you open your laptop in the morning, knowing that you are right now who you want to be? You would do it from a different perspective. And this is the kind of perspective that you want to identify with, because then you make the state really natural, and then it manifests. But more about this soon. And what you can do here, right? Because many people still think that imagining is, I have to visualize, I have to see things. No, right? You can apply any method, any technique that's out there that resonates with you personally to identify with that desired state, right? Some people, they are very good at visualizing. They're like visual people, and they need to see things. Other people, myself included, they like to hear things. They can work very good with this sense of inner hearing. So they might hear congratulations. They might hear people ask them, about their desire and how it is right now that they have achieved it, right? Other people, they work with other senses. Other people, they like to script. Yeah, that's also okay. But again, what matters is that you start to become aware of having achieved it, that you create this inner sense, this inner atmosphere of the wish fulfilled, the satisfaction, this relief of it is done, I got it, I have it. Because only then your world can show you these results. Your world will not show you the results and the manifestations if you still wait, if you still, try things to try to become it eventually at some point in time. No, your world shows you who you are right now within. So you really have to be it within, right? This is why many people fall for this mistake, and they do all of these techniques. They imagine, they do it from the premise of, okay, I'm doing these techniques to become it at some point. But that simply means that they are not it yet, that they're still not it yet, that they still keep secretly waiting and hoping and wishing and desiring and keeping the desired state at the distance. But then how can you expect your life to show you the results, right? It only shows you who you are within, what is already your nature, right? That is why the manifestation is the consequence of the wish fulfilled that happens within you. So experience the wish fulfilled via that imaginative experience, via hearing congratulations, via seeing things, smelling things, touching things, experiencing a day-to-day act out of the wish fulfilled, to really bathe yourself in this fulfillment. That is very important, right? So that is the second stage, right? We know what we want. We get clear on something that would imply we have it, and then we experience that within, right? If the word imaginative sounds too non-graspable for you, then just translate it to an inner experience, right? You internally bathe yourself in having it, in being it. You feel the relief, you feel it is done, you feel the satisfaction, right? And when you do that, right, you start to feel natural about this. And this is also what Neville pointed out as the great secret of success, right, is that you feel natural about it. Because if you don't feel natural about it, it simply means that it is not your nature, that you don't feel like having it. You still want it, so it is not yours yet. So your life can't reflect it back, right? But as soon as the feeling of naturalness starts to come from experiencing that within again and again, as long as it takes for you to have this relief, to like no longer really desire it, that is when you know, okay, you have achieved it. That is when your reactions change. That is when your thoughts change. I will show you that in a second. The stages that happen when you have shifted, and how you can check in with yourself if you have shifted. Okay? So we have the desire, right? Just a quick recap. We have the desire. We know that does exist because all states, everything we can ever desire does exist. So that is a state of consciousness. Our goal now is to make this state natural. How do we do this? By internally experiencing things that imply we are already in this state. Hearing congratulations are helpful. There are many other techniques. I will also show them to you in this video. But it's about the inner satisfaction, the inner shift into the wish fulfilled state, right? Then it feels natural. And then we talk about the point of persistency. And many people still think that persistency means working hard, suffering, forcing yourself to do things that you don't like and saying millions of affirmations each day. That is not what persistency means, and that is simply a delusional perspective of things. If you know Neville's principle, then you will know that persistency is fun, it's pleasure, it's enjoyable, because there is nothing better to experience the wish fulfilled again. Because you know that there is nothing for you to wait. Whenever the desire arises again, whenever you feel triggered externally again, that is simply for you the right time to go back in the wish fulfilled again. And you don't need the external circumstances to show the manifestation in order to experience the wish fulfilled. Right? You can experience the wish fulfilled right now within yourself via the means of your imagination, by simply tuning into that, by simply identifying with that. And then you already got it within. You don't need to wait for the external confirmation. The external confirmation will come as soon as you made it alive and experience it as fulfilled internally first, right? So if you notice, or if we notice that we fall out of the desired state, which might happen, that's okay. Don't condemn yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't think that there is something wrong with you. This happens. This happened to me too. I simply now know what to do then, right? Which is, if you feel triggered, if you react, if you just notice that you are now coming from the old state again, coming from the old circumstances again, right? Then we simply go back into the imaginative experience, right? We simply go back into the wish fulfilled, right? Because that leads to satisfaction again, and then desiring it again, wanting it again, needing it again, chasing it again, was translated in being it again. We have it. We're satisfied. It's done for us. We no longer want to figure out what actions to take, or should I do this, should I do that? No, it's done for us. We simply stop desiring because now we persuaded ourselves again of having it, of being it, right? And this is no hard work or suffering is involved in this entire process. If you know how this works, if you apply this correctly, there is no hard work or suffering, right? Like Neville said, never force anything into being. You can't force anything. Everything does already exist, right? You work against yourself if you come with force and hard effort and hard work. This is a natural step-by-step process, right? We simply identify with something that already does exist. That is in simple terms what we do, right? So again, we have the desire, we experience it being done, we bathe us in the wish fulfilled, we use any method, any technique, any approach that resonates with us, that gives us the satisfaction, this relief that it is done, for the sake of doing this here and now, not for the sake of hopefully getting it at some point, because that still means that we are not it yet, that we still wait. So you will get back more waiting. Be it right now, right? Then the desire will start to fade away because you are it, right? And when you go then in your imagination and experience something like a congratulation, you will start and ask yourself, why? Why is this person still congratulating me? Like, I already got it. This is already natural for me, right? Then therefore you will know that it is natural for you. Should you slip out of that state that you have now shifted into, right? Because what you do here is what you do between this stage and this stage. Here is where the shift happens. Here you are in your old state, right? You have the desire, you are desiring, you want that new state, that new manifestation. And then here, with placing your awareness on that state, on that new identity, you start to shift. You start to identify with this version of you that already has it, right? Therefore, it starts to become natural. And should you fall back into the desiring state again, then you simply persist and you come back to this step. Then you simply apply the method again for experiencing the satisfaction within again. And so you are it again. Boom, it's done again, right? And what happens next is that you will be led via a bridge of incidents to the manifestation, right? A bridge will unfold. A bridge will basically give you the right impulses, actions that you will take where you can't even resist. You can't even, you don't even have any second guess, any second doubt if you should do this action or not, right? You simply would do this. These are actions that you will just do without questioning them, impulses that you can't resist. If you reach a stage where you ask yourself, should I take this action or that action? Or I'm not sure if I should do this right now. That is basically usually actions that you should not do. These are basically actions coming from the state of lack again, right? And when this happens, when you are in the questioning mode again, you go back to the end. Because again, the end is where there is no question. The end is where you have it internally. The end is where you don't have doubts, you don't have questions about the how, when, who, what. It is simply done, right? And that is why Neville said, I don't lift a finger. Meaning you don't have to sit there and work out a way. You don't have to sit there and work out a step-by-step plan on how you will get your goal. That is simply coming from the limited mind. That is simply not possible because you cannot work out the perfect way. But your true self, your awareness, right, this infinite power that we have, that knows the perfect way on how to express the state that you shifted into. So let the state lead. As soon as it becomes unnatural again, make it natural again by going into the wish fulfilled again, right? So I don't lift a finger, that does not mean that you are not, that you won't make any actions and do any actions. You surely will. But again, these actions will be automatic. Everything that will happen to you, people that come to you, what you will do, what will happen in your life will be totally automatic. You don't have to work this out because it will come from this state of already being it, already having it. So that state will provide you with the right actions, with the right impulses, with the right thoughts, and will get you the right manifestations, right? So, and then the next stage, right, the last stage, are simply the results, right? The echo, the reverberant results that you get, the manifestations, right? The mirror of the inner shift that you already did. It's already natural for you within, and then the mirror, so I made this line here, will show you back who you are already within, right? You are in this state of naturalness, you have it, and your life only shows you what you are, what you have, right? The manifestation is the consequence of the wish fulfilled. The manifestation only shows you who you are already within, not what you want and desire and try to become. So that is why we do all of this here, or basically all of this here, right? The bridge is like just leading us to these results, but we do all of that to be it within, and as soon as we are within, we experience it within, it is done for us within, we no longer desire, want, need, chase, it is natural for us, then our world shows us the manifestation, right? So key sentence, the manifestation happens as a consequence of the wish fulfilled that you already experienced within. And that is why the external circumstances, the mirror, is never bigger than you, right? How can the mirror be bigger than you? If you want the mirror image to change, you have to change first within and shift into that new state, right? This is what this shift is about, this shift in this new identity, this shift into this new state of consciousness, this shift into this new self-concept, right? So that is the step-by-step explanation, first of all, on what happens, right? We have the desire, we experience that as being done, it starts to feel natural, we persist, meaning if we fall out of the state because we notice that we get triggered, we notice that we react differently, we simply go back to the end, we experience the end again, it feels natural again, and then via a bridge, that manifestation starts to come into our lives. That is how manifesting works. That's the step-by-step explanation. And here's a simple pyramid showing you also, again, step-by-step what happens, right? Just for you to have an overview on that again, right? So first of all, what we just did, right, with the first stages, is that we shift into this new state, right? We got clear on what we wanted, we know what our desire is, and then we start to having it, to being it, okay? And what we notice first, before manifestations come, before we see the external world, before we see movement and any new shift externally, what we first notice is that we start to feel fulfilled. Our mood changes. We simply feel more relaxed. We stop chasing it. We stop wanting it. We stop desiring it. We stop obsessing about it. Because we know we already have it. It is done for us, right? And our thoughts will change. Our self-talk, our inner conversations will change because they will now come from having it, from being it. So this is first of all where you can notice that you're on the right path, that you're doing this correctly. Then a huge stage, right? A huge thing that will also change are your reactions to life. Because again, your reactions come from your inner state, not from the circumstances. Really get this, right? Your circumstances can still show you, like, if you are internally already abundant, then you will react based from abundance because your reactions are tied to your state, okay? So you will react differently to circumstances, to people, to what your life currently shows you. It will already start to feel a little bit like old and like no longer like you. It will start to feel like less natural because you already made a new state internally natural for yourself, right? And you will like have another evaluation of the current circumstances. You won't feel triggered by them. You won't react to them any longer, right? And that's a huge sign, that the biggest indicator that you have moved internally, that you shifted internally into this wish fulfilled state. And then what changes too are your actions automatically, because your state will lead you to new actions and also to new manifestations, to new events, new manifestations externally, right? So you will make automatic actions based on your state of consciousness, and the world will start to mirror back your new state, your new self-concept. Remember, your world always externalizes and always mirrors back who you are within, what you have alive within yourself, right? And then, of course, the final stage in a sense, also what I showed you here, is of course the mirroring, right? The results, the manifestations you get from the inner shifts that you did, right? So the state will be perfectly expressed in your 3D world because that is what it always does. This is how life works. Life is basically the expression of states that you internally live in. And we move through states. You are never bound to a state. That is the good thing, right? I should have mentioned that maybe earlier, is that if you don't like your current state and your current circumstances coming from that state, you're not tied to that. You are not the circumstances. You are not the state. You're currently simply identified with that. You place your awareness on that state. But now we take the awareness and replace it on another state via this imaginative experience, via this inner shift. And we make this state alive. We make new circumstances alive, right? And they will then express in our life. And then also new desires will arise. And you will start to have new desires, right? So this was the step-by-step explanation. Let me know in the comments down below if that made sense to you. But I think you can't put it out more clearly than this. This is really step-by-step what happens, what you go through, and how the process, in a sense, unfolds. In my experience also, right? And now let's talk about a practical example here, because it's still a theory and we want to apply this, right? This is what the purpose of this video is. It's to give you a guide to show you what is the framework, kind of how does it work, and then how to go out there and do it and apply it and really become a doer of the word and not a hero only. How to take these principles and live by them. This is what I help people with essentially, right? So let's say you want to manifest more money, a desired relationship, or health. Okay? It can be applied for any goal, of course, for any desire, but I pick the three biggest areas, the three like core desires that most people watching this video probably will have, right? And you can just see whatever resonates with you, which desires you currently have. So then a question that I would start out with asking myself is simply, to define my goal more, to become really aware of who I want to be, what I want to have alive in my life, what I want to manifest, is I would ask myself, okay, who am I as the person that is X, Y, and Z, right? Who am I as the person that is financially stable? Who am I? How would my friends see me? How would my family see me? How would my partner see me? How would the world see me? How do I see myself? How would I see the world? Who am I as this person that has achieved this goal, right? Because that will later help you to identify with that state. Or who am I as this person that is in this desired relationship? Who am I as the person that is now happily partnered to X, Y, and Z, that is living in this fulfilling, stable, loving, great, empowering relationship, right? What are the qualities that are relevant for me? Just so you start to define more what you really want, right? Who am I as the person that never worries about health? Who am I as a person for whom health is a natural thing, a normal thing? How would I see the world then? Right? So that's a question, a powerful question that you can ask yourself to start and identify with this new state. And then you imagine the wish fulfilled instead of the wish itself, right? So that you start to being in the desired state. Because again, what happens when you, let's say someone wants a marriage, right? One way could be, okay, imagine the marriage ceremony where, you put the ring on your finger, right? That is euphoric. That usually creates a lot of emotions. That is in the moment of the desire manifesting itself. Or you imagine your day-to-day life out of already being happily married, right? How would you wake up in the morning? How would you go to work? What would your coworkers say to you? What would your family say to you now that you're a normal, happily married or happily partnered, wealthy, abundant, healthy person, right? That is easier, right? The wish fulfilled, not the wish itself. It's a huge difference, right? It's about that you imagine the implication of that state. Not the state and the desire itself. It's easier to shift when you go beyond the manifestation. So the manifestation happened, great. You are now happily partnered. You're now in this desired relationship. You now have the money. You now have the health. You now are living this great lifestyle. You now have the successful business. You are what you want. How would your life look like tomorrow or next week? Because that makes it way more easy, way more natural to identify with it then, okay? So you simply ask yourself then, okay, what would imply that it is done, right? What simple thing in my day-to-day life would change? How would I wake up, right? I gave you all of these examples. Who would congratulate me, right? How would I see the world? How would the world see you? Ask yourself that. Answers will come up. You will see that, wow, yes, of course, if I would, have doubled my income, my partner would see me differently. My partner would say something to me. My family would say something to me. I would maybe smile in the mirror and just see my own face smiling because I'm so fulfilled. I'm so happy about myself. There are infinite imaginal acts that will imply that you have achieved it, right? And if you do this via visualization, via hearing, yes, you can script. I'm just not the biggest fan of that, but you can do it if it helps you. But it is about, again, placing your attention, placing your awareness, placing your focus on that state where you are, so it starts to feel natural. And you can pick any technique that you resonate most with. And it is about finding a technique that you resonate most with. Don't take my word. Don't take anyone's techniques out there that work for them. We want to find something that works for you, right? So again, this can be a congratulation, which usually works all the time because a congratulation always implies success. It can be eavesdropping, that you simply hear like people speak about your success. It can be the telephone conversation, that you have like an imaginative like telephone conversation with talking with someone about having achieved your goal. There's so many things you can do, right? I have many techniques on my channel that I share, but they all have the same purpose. They're all there to help you get this relief, get this knowing that it is done, get this naturalness, persuade yourself that you already have it. And then the manifestations will come as a result of that, right? But the key point is to experience it within, to internally experience the wish fulfilled. That is really the key point, right? And then what you do is that you want to bath yourself in the wish fulfilled, right? Devote yourself to this experience in the here and now. Don't go into this imaginal act and want something out of that, right? Go into it like without any big expectations. Go to it to just experience the wish fulfilled here and now, because that is what your imagination allows you to do. You don't have to wait for the manifestation to experience the wish fulfilled. You can experience the wish fulfilled right now, even though your senses deny it, because you can close your eyes and simply experience it. See that, visualize that, hear that, experience that, right? This is like you shifting and tuning into that portion of creation where you already are. And the more you do that, the more natural it will start to be, right? So really soak yourself into having it, into being it. And if you don't get the sense of relief at the first time, great. Do it the next time again. Do it again. You will reach this point. You will reach this place of satisfaction and of relief and of having it. It is done, right? This is why Neville's mentor, Abdullah, told Neville, it is done. You are already in Barbados. And you, everyone that is listening to this video right now, you already have your goal. You already are your desired version of yourself, right? Your desire is your hidden identity. I made a video on this. This is a crucial video. Please check this out after this video. Meaning that you don't have to try to become something. You only have to recognize that you are already it and identify with that version of you, where you have the goal, where you are who you want to be, right? So bath yourself in that wish fulfilled. Devote yourself to that inner experience here and now. Don't do this to get eventually, to wait, to hope, to still desire. Then your circumstances can't show to you. Bring the desire in the here and now. Make then, now, and there here. Experience it right here, right now, and it is done. Boom, that's it, right? It is done. And then simply stay aware, right? You want to raise your level of consciousness. You want to be self-aware. You want to notice in your day-to-day life if your reactions match that wish fulfilled state, if you are living in the end, right? If you think from that end, if you're coming from that end, do they match, right? If your reactions match, right? If you're relaxed, if you stop being triggered, stop being doubtful, stop reacting to your current circumstances, even though they currently haven't changed yet. But if internally you have already moved and your reactions changed, great, perfect. You are living in the state of the fulfilled, right? Nothing for you to do, just remain in that state, right? And you will do the right actions, you will have the right thoughts, you will have the right impulses, and the manifestations will come when you stay in that state, when you keep dwelling in that end state, right? And when you made it natural, this will become your dwelling place. You won't have to do anything to stay in that state. You will automatically stay in that state when you made it natural, right? There is no work. And if not, right, if you see that you still reacted to something, you still got triggered, that's no problem, right? Like I said, that happens. And then simply, very gently maneuver back in the wish fulfilled again. Maneuver back in the end again, via your imaginal act, via your inner experience, via any method that resonates with you so that you get this feeling of relief again. And then you have shifted again. Boom, you're in the end. Nothing left for you to do. That's it. Right? So this was a practical example. Right? And you can apply this again for money. Right? If you want to be more wealthy, raise your business success, be financially stable, have a 7-figure income, be with your partner, be in the desired relationship that you want to be in, or be with a partner in general, be healthy if you currently have any symptoms. That is what you do, right? You ask who would congratulate you. Your family would maybe say to you, wow, I've never seen you better. Or how would you wake up? How would you look yourself in the mirror when you're healthy? Maybe you would stretch yourself and smile and be so happy that you're good right now, right? Or how would you drink your coffee in the morning? You'd now drink it from, I finally feel good again, right? What would friends say to you when they see you now being happily partnered? What comments would they make? What would your family say to you, right? Whom would you speak with on the telephone? Maybe your best friend. How would they speak on the telephone to you? What would they say to you? These are all impulses I can give you so that you can choose something that would imply the end for you, right? And then you can simply imagine that and identify with that end and make it natural, okay? And now here are some action steps that I want to give you that you can now, in a sense, do to move forward and to start apply that. Okay, we talked about the framework, we talked about the fundamental principles, we talked about some examples and on what you can do step by step. And now here are the action steps for you for what to do after this video is done. Okay, first of all, get clear on what you want, right? There is nothing more like time wasting to be wavering, to be double-minded. So define what you want, get clear on your ideal, take your time, go within, dwell within awareness, simply rest in beingness, get a calm mind and know what you want, define that, right? Get clear on the states that you want to shift into, because without clarity, it's kind of not easy to shift and identify with these states if you waver. Do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want this? And know that no decision is final. You can make a decision, shift into that, manifest that right now. And if it doesn't align with you later, if you don't like it, you can always change. But start with one decision right now. To start who you want to be. If you wait, life waits, right? Your life will wait for you forever. So decide what you want to have and who you want to be right now. And only accept your ideal. Don't accept anything less, right? So you did this, right? Then ask yourself, okay, now I want this. I want to be this. I want to manifest that. I want to be this version of myself. Great. Then find out one or two experiences in your day-to-day life, including your friends, your family members, or simply your day-to-day life, that would imply that you have it, that would imply that you are it. Right? I gave you many examples before. Do that. Right? Get clear. You can write it out. You can simply define this internally. You don't have to write it out. But find out one or two acts, experiences that would imply, if you would experience those one or two experiences, that would mean that you have your goal. For example, congratulations, right? That means you have it. But pick one or two that resonate most with you. Then simply get relaxed, right? Find a spot where you can sit, find a spot where you can lay down, calm your mind, take some breaths in, get into this state akin to sleep, right? You don't have to wait until the evening. It's not that you have to have a strict schedule. You can imagine every time. You imagine every time, by the way. So you can do this also throughout the day. So get relaxed and internally, meaning imaginatively, experience that here and now. Shift your awareness into having that. Imagine it. Bath yourself in the wish fulfilled. Soak in that wish fulfilled, like that relief, right? And that relief will come as a result from you experiencing that act that you just defined, right? So go into that experience with the what would it be like attitude. Don't go in that experience with the attitude, I need to make this happen right now. I need to manifest this right now. This is not here yet. I need to manifest this and imagine it again and again and again. That's the wrong premise to start out with, first of all. That is why many people fail, because they work hard. Working hard will not do anything. Working hard will not change anything. It's about making this relaxed, doing this gently, right? Experiencing the wish fulfilled here and now. Your life only gives you what you are here and now. There is only the now moment. You can only influence now how you feel right now. And then your life will change. But you ought already internally. Life just sometimes takes a little while to catch up with what you have already alive within you. So don't judge on these circumstances. Let them be there. Do the inner shift, right? So ask yourself, what would it be like Don't search for any specific feeling. Don't search for any specific emotion. Don't wait for anything specific or magical to happen. Just ask, what would it be like? What would it be like if I would climb a ladder? You would do it internally. Boom, it happens externally. Right? It's great ladder exercise that Neville gave. Do that first. Maybe start with that if you haven't manifested that ladder yet. Right? Apply these steps for the ladder. Your desire is the ladder, defined. What would imply you climb it? What would imply you climb the ladder? You could just simply imagine yourself climbing that, for example. Then you get relaxed and you inwardly experience climbing the ladder up and down right now. Then at some point this will simply become boring, right? This will become natural for you. You won't want to imagine that any longer because it is done for you. And then you simply enjoy life, right? You don't put life on hold. Putting life on hold means you're still in the wanting, desiring, being stuck, needing state. But if you can enjoy life without needing, without waiting, that means you're in the end, right? There is nothing to wait. When you wait, life waits. When you make a decision and all that internally, you will get this back. No waiting. You are abundant within. You are whole. You are complete. So everything is within you. All of these states are within your awareness. You simply select, and then these new states become alive externally. Okay? So this was my manifestation guide for this year, based on my experiences, based on what I apply, based on what my clients apply. I got amazing results out of that. I will soon upload more client success stories, more results from my personal life. And that's just amazing, right? These principles are life-changing. And this is why you should learn them, why you should apply them, in my opinion, because you will have points in your life where you do have desires. And if you then don't know how to go to the next level, if you then don't know how to make shifts happen, you're wasting potential. You're not living to your fullest. So why not learn this right now? Learn the framework, learn how to live by that, and then just live consciously and enjoy this conscious lifestyle, right? If you want to, learn more about that, again, as you always know, I have 2 links for that. I have a free masterclass. You can check this out below. That's the first link. It's a 30-minute video where I go into detail on what is important, what's relevant, why people fail, and on what you should do, right? And how you can get started, right? How you can also work with me. And if you say right now that you found this interesting, that you found this intriguing, that you trust in that you saw that it works, you already get proofs for yourself in your own life, and you just want us to work together on this, you want the framework, you want constant accountability and support, you want like-minded people that are also in this journey all together in one place, right? So that you have a great experience and that you can shift quicker and have the accountability during this, then you can apply for a free 45-minute call. You have nothing to lose. It is non-binding, just for us to figure out if we are a good fit. If we find out that we're a good fit, I will tell you about my program, how it works, and you can then, decide if you want to do that. And if you feel that's nothing for you and you want to keep going by yourself, that's also fine. But at least we got to spoke. You will get some clarity. I will give you some impulses in this call. It's totally free. You can schedule that. It's the second link in the description, where we do all of that and really bring it into your life, right? Neville's principles, the law of assumption, manifesting your goals, living consciously, living self-empowered, right? I can help you with that. I did this many times. I'm doing this all day. This is what I love to do. And if you want to learn and see what some of my clients experienced, I will link below in the in the video description. I will link the playlist of my client testimonials so that you can simply watch some of them, because they're amazing results and I want more people to have such results by applying this law consciously. All right. So thank you for watching. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you learned from that, if that was helpful, if you like also these longer format videos and what you think about this video. And I look forward to speak to you in the next one. Bye guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. I look forward to your comments.